The auctioneer's voice cut through the ballroom like a blade. And our final item tonight, a truly extraordinary donation, comes from Mr. James Hartwell. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The coffee was cold by the time I noticed. I'd been sitting at my kitchen table for an hour, watching sunrise paint the lake outside my window, holding the same mug Eleanor had used every morning for 34 years. Her photograph sat beside the newspaper. Eleanor at 47, laughing at something I'd said, her hair catching afternoon light. Gone 6 years now, but some mornings I still reached for her before I remembered. The newspaper featured a half-page spread about tonight's charity gala, Westridge Youth Foundation's annual fundraiser to support at-risk children. The photograph showed my daughter Catherine standing with her husband Derek Thornton, both in evening wear, both smiling like they'd invented philanthropy. Catherine had started the foundation 3 years ago. Good work, genuinely good, providing mentorship, education support, summer programs for kids who needed opportunities. I was proud of her for that. Less proud of Derek. I set down the mug and studied the photograph. Derek wore a custom tuxedo that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. His smile was the kind you practiced in mirrors. He'd founded a tech startup 5 years ago, something about social media analytics, and it had exploded. $30 million in venture capital, headquarters in San Francisco. Derek's face on magazine covers about disruptive innovators. He'd married Catherine 2 years ago. I'd pay for the wedding, $200,000 for a single evening, because Derek said anything less would look cheap to investors. Eleanor would have hated him. My phone buzzed. Catherine, Dad, you're still coming tonight, right? Please don't wear that gray suit. Derek got you a tuxedo. It's being delivered at 4. I looked down at my clothes. Jeans and a flannel shirt. I'd been up since 5, working in the woodshop I'd built behind the house. Sawdust still dusted my sleeves. I have a suit, I texted back. Dad, please. This is important to Derek. Not to her. To Derek. I didn't respond. The tuxedo arrived at 4:03 p.m. Italian, custom-fitted somehow without my measurements. With a note, try not to embarrass Catherine tonight. I hung it in the closet and put on my gray suit. The gala was at the Pinnacle Hotel downtown. Chandeliers, champagne, 500 guests an evening were worth more than my first house. I'd built that house myself, back when I was 26 and working construction while putting myself through night school for engineering. That was 45 years ago. Different life. Different man, though I still kept the calloused hands. Catherine met me at the entrance. She looked beautiful. Eleanor's eyes, Eleanor's grace. But her smile died when she saw my suit. Dad, I asked you. You look lovely, sweetheart, I said. Your mother would be so proud of the work you're doing. Her expression softened for a moment. Then Derek appeared. Jesus Christ, James. Derek's voice carried. Several nearby guests turned. Catherine told you about the tuxedo. I'm comfortable in this. You look like someone's grandfather who wandered in from a funeral. Derek's eyes traveled over my suit with open disdain. This is a high-profile event. Investors are here. Tech executives. People who matter. People who matter. I'll try not to speak, I said quietly. Catherine touched Derek's arm. It's fine. He's old-fashioned. He's cheap, Derek said. Catherine, your father lives in a house worth maybe $300,000, drives a Buick that's older than our marriage, and dresses like a community college professor. I know you love him, but he's an embarrassment. The word hung between us. Embarrassment. Eleanor in her hand-sewn dresses. Eleanor making coffee at midnight while I studied for engineering exams. Eleanor working double shifts as a bookkeeper so we could afford the down payment on that first house. Embarrassment. Enjoy your evening, I said to Catherine. Then I walked into the ballroom. I found a table in the back. The program listed the auction items, vacation packages, jewelry, sports memorabilia. Expected donations were listed beside each donor's name. $5,000, $10,000, $25,000. Derek and Catherine had donated the evening's centerpiece item, a week at their Cabo villa, estimated value $50,000. The speeches began. Catherine talked about the foundation's impact, kids graduating high school, college scholarships, summer programs. Real work, real results. Her passion was genuine. For a moment, I forgot about Derek. Then Derek took the microphone. My wife has a beautiful vision, he said. But vision requires resources. Resources require people willing to invest. Not everyone can contribute meaningfully. We understand that. Some people, his eyes found me across the ballroom. Some people's best days are behind them. They did what they could with what they had. We're grateful for that generation's efforts, small though they were. Polite laughter rippled through the crowd. But tonight is about the future. About those of us building tomorrow, not clinging to yesterday. He continued talking, but I stopped listening. Instead, I pulled out my phone and sent a text to Marcus Webb, the Gala's lead auctioneer. Marcus, it's James Hartwell. I'm adding an item to tonight's auction. Final item. I'll send details now. Then I made another call, one I'd been considering for months. By the time the auction began, everything was arranged. The auction moved through items with practiced efficiency. A wine collection went for $12,000. Courtside basketball tickets for $18,000. Each successful bid triggered applause, and Derek worked the room like he owned it, shaking hands, laughing with tech executives, positioning himself at the center of everything. I watched from my table in the back, nursing water while others drank champagne. Catherine's donated Villa Week came up mid-auction. Marcus presented it with dramatic flair. 7 days in paradise, worth $50,000, donated by Derek and Catherine Thornton. The bidding started at $30,000. It climbed quickly, tech money competing with finance money, status displays wrapped in charitable giving. Derek stood near the stage, beaming as the number rose. 65,000, someone called. 70. Derek's smile grew wider. He pulled Catherine close, whispering something that made her laugh. 75,000 to the gentleman in front, Marcus announced. Going once, going twice. The final bid was $80,000. The room erupted in applause. Derek took a bow. Catherine looked genuinely moved. $80,000 for the foundation was real money that would help real kids. Incredible generosity, Derek said when Marcus handed him the microphone. This is what happens when successful people invest in the future. When those of us who've built something meaningful give back. He paused. Not everyone can operate at this level. Some people, like my father-in-law, who's here somewhere in the back, they gave what they could in their time. A few thousand to charity here and there. Small contributions from small lives. We honor that, even as we move beyond it. The words landed like slaps. Several people glanced toward my table. I saw pity in their expressions. The old man in the old suit, relics of a lesser era. Catherine looked uncomfortable, but didn't contradict him. Derek continued. Tonight proves that real change requires real resources. It requires people willing to think bigger than. We have one final item, Marcus interrupted smoothly, consulting his notes. A late addition to the auction. Derek frowned. We planned the villa as the closing. This just came in. Marcus's voice carried authority. I think you'll find it worth the deviation from the program. He nodded to someone offstage. A screen descended behind him, and an image appeared. Architectural renderings of a modern community center. Basketball courts, computer labs, art studios, a library. The Westridge Youth Foundation Community Center, Marcus announced. Fully funded construction, staffing for 5 years, and a $10 million endowment for ongoing operations. Total package value, $23 million. The ballroom went absolutely silent. Catherine stood. What? We haven't planned. The donation includes the land, Marcus continued. 12 acres in the Westridge district, already zoned for community use. Construction begins next month if the foundation accepts. Derek pushed toward the stage. Who's donating this? We didn't approve any. The donor, Marcus said, looking directly at me, is Mr. James Hartwell. Every head in the ballroom turned. I stood slowly, feeling the weight of 500 stares. Derek's face went through several expressions before settling on confusion. That's not possible. James is a retired engineer. He lives in a, he doesn't have, Dad? Catherine's voice was small. I walked toward the stage. The crowd parted. Derek's mouth was still open, working soundlessly. I should explain, I said when I reached the microphone. My voice was steady, though my heart hammered against my ribs. Catherine, you know I worked as an engineer. What I didn't talk about much was what kind of engineering. I nodded to Marcus, who advanced the presentation. Patent documents appeared on the screen. Dense technical drawings, filing dates from the 1990s. Wireless data compression and transmission protocols, I said. Filed in 1994, when most people were still using dial-up internet. Your mother and I developed them in our garage. Every smartphone, every streaming service, every piece of technology that transmits data wirelessly pays licensing fees for these patents. The documents scrolled, patent numbers, filing dates, licensing agreements with every major tech company in the world. The patents generated approximately $840 million in licensing fees last year alone. I continued. Total value of my patent portfolio, according to last month's assessment, $4.2 billion. Derek made a sound like air escaping a tire. I live simply because your mother and I always lived simply. The money sits in investments and trusts. I don't need vacation homes or Italian tuxedos. I need my woodshop and my coffee and my memories of the woman who built everything with me. I looked at Catherine. Her eyes were wide, uncomprehending. Your mother made me promise two things before she died. First, take care of you always. Second, make sure our money did something that mattered. She specifically mentioned at-risk kids. She'd been one herself before we met. The foundation you started, Catherine, it's exactly what she would have wanted. Tears ran down my daughter's face. So I'm donating the community center. Construction starts next month. It'll serve 500 kids a year with programs in education, arts, athletics, and mentorship. The endowment ensures it runs in perpetuity. I turned to Derek. You asked who matters. Those kids matter. The ones Catherine is trying to help. They matter more than vacation homes and venture capital and tech executives measuring success by magazine covers. Derek's face had gone pale. I wasn't. You called me an embarrassment. You mocked what you thought was a small life. You measured worth by appearance and assumed poverty where you saw humility. The ballroom remained silent. Catherine had moved closer, standing halfway between Derek and me. Your mother was a bookkeeper, I said to her. She worked for 40 years at a firm that paid her $40,000 annually. She never complained. She saved every penny she could. When she died, she had $127,000 in her personal account, money she'd been setting aside for your wedding. Catherine's hand went to her mouth. I used it to pay for your wedding to Derek. $200,000 total. I added what she couldn't save, because she wanted you to have a beautiful day. The ballroom felt like it was holding its breath. Catherine crossed the remaining distance between us. Dad, I didn't know. You never said about the patents, about the money, about Mom's savings. Your mother and I didn't believe in flaunting wealth. We believed in using it wisely. I touched her shoulder gently. You started something good with this foundation. Real work that helps people who need it. That's worth more than any bank account. Derek finally found his voice. Mr. Hartwell, I apologize. I was completely out of line. I didn't understand. You didn't try to understand, I said quietly. You saw an old man in an old suit and made assumptions. You measured worth by appearance and possessions. That's not a misunderstanding, Derek. That's a values problem. His face flushed red. Several of his tech executive friends were watching, their expressions carefully neutral. Marcus cleared his throat. Mr. Hartwell, the foundation will need to formally accept the donation. I'll accept it. Catherine's voice was firm. She wiped her eyes and stood straighter. On behalf of Westridge Youth Foundation, we gratefully accept this extraordinary gift. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for supporting the work. For supporting me. She couldn't finish. I pulled her into a hug, and she cried against my shoulder the way she had as a little girl when she'd scraped her knee or failed a test. Your mother is so proud of you, I whispered. So am I. The ballroom erupted in applause. It built and built until it became a standing ovation. 500 people on their feet, not for Derek's villa or tech success, but for a community center that would serve kids who needed it. Derek stood alone near the stage, clapping mechanically, his expression somewhere between humiliation and shock. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. People approached to congratulate me, to apologize for assumptions, to talk about the foundation. Tech executives who'd ignored me earlier suddenly wanted to discuss patent law and licensing. I was polite but brief with all of them. I found Catherine near midnight on the hotel's outdoor terrace. She was alone, still in her gown, looking out over the city lights. Mom really saved all that money for my wedding? She asked when I joined her. Every penny. She kept a separate account, called it her Catherine's Princess Day Fund. I smiled at the memory. She wanted you to have the wedding you dreamed about. I didn't dream about spending $200,000. That was Derek. Catherine's voice was soft, He said anything less would make him look bad to investors. I went along with it because I thought that's what you were supposed to do when you love someone. Support their vision. Love is support, but support doesn't mean losing yourself. She turned to face me. Why didn't you ever tell me about the patents? About the money? Your mother and I agreed you should build your own life. Make your own way. We didn't want money to define you or attract the wrong people. I paused. We wanted you to know you were loved for yourself, not for what you might inherit. Derek's going to change now, she said. After tonight, Derek is who he is. Tonight just revealed it publicly. I chose my words carefully. Catherine, I'll support whatever decision you make about your marriage, but I won't pretend he showed character tonight. He showed you how he sees people, as valuable or worthless based on their bank accounts. She was quiet for a long moment. He's called you cheap for 2 years. Made fun of your house, your car, your suits. I laugh sometimes. I let him say those things. You didn't know. I should have defended you anyway. Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. You and Mom built everything you have. You worked for it. Derek's company runs on venture capital and buzzwords. He hasn't built anything real. Not like you. Not like the foundation. I pulled her close. You built something real. That foundation is yours, your vision, your work. Don't let tonight take that away from you. Will you help me? She asked. Not with money, with guidance. Mom was the practical one. I miss having that. Of course. We stood together in the cold air, city lights spreading below us like fallen stars. 6 months later, I stood with Catherine in the dirt lot that would become the Eleanor Hartwell Community Center. Construction crews had broken ground the week before. The foundation's board had voted unanimously to name the center after the woman whose values had inspired it. Catherine had filed for divorce 3 months ago. Derek had fought it initially, then backed down when his lawyers explained the prenuptial agreement. He kept his tech company. She kept the foundation and her dignity. The divorce was finalized last week. Mom would have loved this, Catherine said, studying the architectural plans spread across a folding table. The art studios especially. She always said creativity saved her when she was young. She painted beautifully, I said. Did I ever show you her watercolors? No. They're in the attic at home. We'll get them out. Some should hang here, in the center. Catherine smiled. A real smile, the first I'd seen in months. Tell me about her. About when you first met. So I did. Standing in the dirt and the spring sunshine, I told my daughter about the bookkeeper who believed in an engineer's crazy ideas. About midnight coffee and garage workshops and hand-sewn dresses. About a woman who measured wealth by impact, not dollars. She sounds like she was everything, Catherine said quietly. She was. I want to be like that. Like her. You already are. You started a foundation to help kids no one else was helping. That's exactly who she was. Catherine folded the plans carefully. The community center opens next spring. Will you speak at the dedication? If you want me to. I want you to tell them about Mom. About building something that matters. She paused. And Dad, thank you for the donation. But also, thank you for showing me what real success looks like. It's not Derek's magazine covers or tech deals. It's this. Work that helps people. Values that last. I looked at the construction site, at the foundation being poured, the framework beginning to rise. In a year, this dirt lot would be a space filled with kids learning, creating, growing. Eleanor's legacy in concrete and steel and opportunity. Your mother and I spent 40 years building patents and companies, I said. But the best thing we ever built was you. Catherine hugged me tight. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. I still live in the same house. Still drive the Buick. Still wear the gray suit to formal occasions, though Catherine bought me a new one for the community center's dedication ceremony. Derek's tech company went public last month. He's worth $90 million on paper now. I saw his face on a magazine cover at the grocery store, talking about disruption and innovation. Catherine sent me a photo the same day. 12 kids from the foundation's pilot program, all accepted to college with full scholarships. Real disruption. Real innovation. The community center opens in 3 weeks. 200 kids are already enrolled. The waiting list is 600 deep. Some mornings I still sit with Eleanor's photograph and my coffee, watching the sun rise over the lake. But now I also have construction updates from Catherine and photos of kids in art classes and thank you notes from parents whose children found opportunities they never thought possible. This is what Eleanor wanted. Not the money, Not the recognition, just the quiet knowledge that our work mattered beyond ourselves. On my desk, beside Eleanor's photograph, sits the dedication plaque they'll mount at the community center. Eleanor Hartwell Community Center, in memory of a woman who believed in building something that lasts. That's legacy. Not patents worth billions, or magazine covers, or tech valuations. It's knowing that long after you're gone, the values you fought for continue forward. That the work meant something beyond yourself. That you measured success not by what you accumulated, but by what you gave. Eleanor understood that. Catherine understands it now. And on quiet mornings when I make my coffee and look at Eleanor's smile, I can meet her eyes and know we built something that mattered. Not despite being tested, but because we made sure it could withstand the testing. In 3 weeks, I'll stand with Catherine and cut the ribbon on a center that will serve thousands of kids. I'll wear my gray suit. I'll tell stories about Eleanor. I'll watch my daughter step into her mother's legacy of quiet, powerful change. That's enough. That has to be enough. And somehow, in the morning light with calloused hands wrapped around a warm mug, it is.